It's time to recognize our veterans, the ones who defended our freedom,
Wanted to be up front and do what needs to be done.
protected our peace,
I knew this is what I'm called to do.
all with courage and honor.
When I was 13 that I knew I wanted to go into the military.
We welcome you to this special presentation of Hometown Heroes, presented by Window World.
Good evening, and thank you for joining us tonight for our Hometown Heroes special. I'm Caitlin Corbett. Here at Local 5, we're dedicated to bringing a spotlight to those who serve our country. In tonight's special, we'll highlight some of the incredible stories from veterans right here in Northeast Wisconsin. We begin tonight with the story of Derek Gagne, who faced some of the toughest moments in serving our country, but it's his positive outlook that has his story worth sharing. When you look at Derek Gagne, you can see that nothing holds him back. From earning a scholarship in high school to play basketball at UW-Madison, despite standing just under 6 feet, to following his dream and joining the Army National Guard at just 17.
My stepdad's brother died in Vietnam, so I heard stories about it. It made you feel good, even though, you know, what happened, but you still felt good about it. It made you feel like that's what you're supposed to do, and it's something I want to do since I was little.
In 2006, while going to school, playing basketball, and finishing basic training, Gagne learned his military police unit would soon be deploying to southeast Baghdad.
Oh, that's what I joined for. I didn't join to sit at home and sit on the sidelines. I just wanted to be up front and do what needs to be done.
Just 4 months into deployment, Gagne's life would change when he and his team were hit by an Energy Force projectile. Blinded, seriously injured, and unable to tell the gravity of the situation, Gagne jumped into action to drag his team leader to safety. They were the only two to survive of the group.
So you have to take your mind off and think about something else, and then start feeling, once you got a safe point of view of what people and what things you have, and then start feeling and trying to diagnose what's up next.
2 Purple Hearts and now an amputee, all at the age of 19. But it never stopped Gagne.
In your mind, I should be able to do this, should be able to do that. And it was the lull for like 3 to 5 years of trying to sort life out. I always figured humor is the best way to get through everything, you know, the old Patch Adams quote, you know, laughter is the best medicine. Well, that's what I did. If I can't make fun of myself, no one else can take that from me then, you know.
Gagne did sort his life out, volunteering counseling at the VA, got into car racing, and back to a hobby that he had before the military, riding motorcycles. Gagne was recently gifted this bike from the nonprofit Hugs for Heroes, a group aiming to help vets find therapy through riding. And for Gagne, that's exactly what it is.
Motorcycling always has, because it helps with depth perception, helps me free my mind and have time to think. When you're on the road, you're focusing on driving and staying safe, but it gives your mind some time to relax and think and process without any interruption.
Gagne lives his life without limits, and he wants his story to help others do the same.
Just talk about it, because no matter what, the more you talk about it, the easier it is. People say it's a cliche, but it's not. Yeah, the first couple times it doesn't feel like it does nothing. Then afterwards, if you keep talking, keep expressing your feelings, actually letting the feelings out, no matter what they are, anger, hurt, whatever, just do it. It'll help no matter what, and trust that someone cares.
And we thank you for your service, Derek. Moving now to Pulaski, where we meet a Vietnam veteran. Jim Lobus barely had his college degree before he received his draft notice. After graduating from UW-Madison with an English degree in 1967, he was then sent to Vietnam. Lobus had a unique job in a psychological operations battalion, flying across the Central Highlands and dropping leaflets, playing tapes over a loudspeaker, urging the enemy to surrender. Lobus says he never reflected much on his time in Vietnam until an Old Glory honor flight brought him to peace with his past.
It seems to be turning the corner. I see it in a lot of different areas. It was probably one of the most moving experiences of my life, that honor flight. I think it did. I think that kind of wrapped everything up. And, you know, I'm 78 now, and I've lived it all. But we did what we had to do and, you know, made the best of it.
And Jim, we thank you for your service. Coming up next on our Hometown Heroes special, we meet a man whose dream was to be a Marine. But after a tragic accident, a four-legged friend helped him find his way after service. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Local 5's Hometown Heroes Special, a chance for us to share the stories of local veterans who have served our country. For our next Hometown Hero, it had always been his dream to wear a uniform, but Matthew Solberg's dream got cut short almost as quickly as it started. Now we take a look at his journey through joining the Marines, his quick and tragic exit, and how man's best friend helped him find salvation.
Middle school is probably where I decided I wanted to be in the Marine Corps.
Matthew Solberg never dreamed of another career. It was always the Marine Corps.
It was just one of those things where I just wanted to be part of something like that, something that was bigger and something that would take me out of, small town area.
Solberg would get his wish shortly after enlisting when his unit deployed to Iraq in '04, but the trip overseas would change his young life forever.
We were just getting done with a patrol, and we were getting back into the vehicles, and there was a IED underneath the back of our vehicle.
It left him with a traumatic brain injury at just 19 years old. Solberg was now forced to give up the life he had always dreamed of.
The first thing was like, well, what do I do now? Because I wanted to make a career out of it. Like, I loved being in the infantry. I feel like everything had kind of just started.
And just as quickly, it had come to an end. Solberg spiraled into addiction, feeling lost and alone. But a new journey was on the horizon in the form of a hunting puppy, Hunter.
I really think he helped me transition between feeling, kind of just lost and then kind of having a direction. Even though I didn't know at that time I would end up wanting to do that as a career, I just saw it as personal growth. Having a dog and having him really changed me.
Solberg trained Hunter, and they went on countless hunts together. One of the most special, the Horicon Marsh Veterans Hunt. It opened Solberg up to a new network of Wisconsin veterans who shared a lot of the same experiences as him.
Being able to talk to some of those guys that have already gone through that, or at least a couple chapters ahead of me in that stage of life, and they can say, yeah, this is what I did. They helped me with those things, and it definitely helped me wrap my mind around some of those things and feel hopeful.
But the biggest difference maker was his best bud, Hunter.
I started realizing how much that relationship with him had helped me, and I knew there's something there for veterans with not just owning a dog, but being involved in the training with the dog. There's a bond there that you can't really get anywhere else.
Hunter passed away a few years ago, and Solberg welcomed his new hunting pup, Chip. While reflecting on his time with Hunter and the process of training Chip, Solberg says his path forward became more clear.
I knew this is what I'm called to do, and I really felt like the Lord was leading me to do this and to help guys experience that. So that's why I started my own kennel.
Solberg now owns and operates Maple Leaf Kennels in Door County, spreading his message of hope and healing to others.
Don't give up on yourself. There's people out there that want to help and are ready to help. Just have the same courage that you had when you signed up to join the military. Have that same courage to say, I need help.
And none of that would have been possible without his pal, Hunter.
Thanks, buddy. I miss you so much. Hunter, you kept my life from going over the edge.
And we thank you for your service, Matthew. Coming up next, we meet Walt Zerenner, who had one of the toughest jobs in the military as a recon Marine. But it's the impact he's making after his service that he's the most proud of. Welcome back to Local 5's Hometown Heroes Special, a chance for us to share the stories of local veterans who have served our country. Up next in our Hometown Heroes Special, we meet Walt Zerenner. He was a recon Marine, one of the toughest in the military. But for him, it's what he's done after his service that has left the biggest impact.
Discipline was always in my family between an Irish grandmother and a Catholic school.
Raised by an Irish grandmother in New York City, put through Catholic school, and with a father who served in World War II, perhaps it only made sense for Walt Zerener to enlist in the Marine Corps.
My family was not educated. They basically worked for the hourly wage. I thought that's what I should do, work for the hourly wage, help support the family, but I didn't want to do that.
So in 1959, he and 3 of his high school friends joined the Marines.
No matter what they tell you or what you read, it doesn't prepare you for the real thing. I mean, I really felt like the first 2 weeks they were going to kill all of us.
First, Zerener was sent to Naples, Italy, but after 2 years there, things were about to change.
And it was funny because I'm on the train heading down to Jacksonville, North Carolina. I said, thinking to myself, boy, I just hope they don't assign me to recon. And sure enough, when I got there, they signed me to recon.
Then rumblings began of a war brewing in Vietnam in '62. Zerener volunteered to go.
Basically, our job was to shuttle the South Vietnamese army around to deal with the Viet Cong.
It was called Operation Shoe Fly in the early days of the war in Vietnam. Zerener got out in '63 and married his girlfriend, Aline. Their 58 years of marriage would lead Walt down a new path. Shortly after moving to Wisconsin, Aline was diagnosed with early onset Alzheimer's in 2009. It was then that Zerener felt called again to serve, dedicating his time to spreading awareness for Alzheimer's through serving on several nonprofit boards and facilitating support groups.
It's such a tough disease, not only on the individual, but on the caregiver.
But Zerener has never let that stop his mission. Though his wife passed away from the disease in 2022, he continues to honor her memory by helping others.
I don't know. I mean, I guess it's just something I feel obligated to do. I mean, I started down that path, and it is rewarding to me to see how it benefits other people.
And we thank you for your service, Walt. Coming up after the break, after his time in the Navy, our next hometown hero says he needed to find himself, and now he's trying to help other veterans do the same with a new friend. Welcome back to Local 5's Hometown Hero Special, a chance for us to share the stories of local veterans who have served our country. Our next hometown hero spent more than a decade in the Navy, but he found himself lost in his life after the service. Now, with the help of a horse, he is hoping to help other veterans find their way back. Terry Vander Zanden grew up in Black Creek with 2 brothers who served in Vietnam.
Well, I knew from about when I was 13 that I knew I wanted to go into the military.
Namely, the Navy.
I seen all the fancy medals that the guys had, and so I thought, well, that looks cool, so I thought I'd join.
Little did Vander Zanden know that in 1980, it would lead to a 13-year career as a cook aboard submarines. But his real story begins after he retired from the Navy. Vander Zanden found himself struggling with PTSD and bipolar disorder. It left him feeling alone.
Major thing was I was isolating and not having any friends and things. So their main purpose was to get me out in the community.
That's when his doctor at the VA suggested Beaming Inc., an equine support service in Neenah. Vander Zanden has been volunteering here now for the last 5 years. It's why you've seen the horse, Spuds, standing by in his interview.
So Terry has really improved the quality of his life. When he first came here, he was on many, many meds, and now he can come out to the barn. He's out here sometimes, 5 to 6 days a week, enjoying the horses and our community.
Hi, buddy. Come on. It changed my life for the better. I learned to be more calmer, more relaxed. It hurts when I do things, but it also enjoying the pain because I'm making a horse feel better. I'm making a child feel happy.
And for Vander Zanden, that's really all he needs. That and his good buddy, Spuds.
He's my favorite horse because we both have issues. And so him and I, with our disabilities together, we make a great pair.
And we thank you for your service, Terry. Before we go tonight, we'll meet a mother and daughter duo who served together in the Army Reserves. Learn about their trailblazing journeys in the military. That's coming up. Welcome back to Local 5's Hometown Hero Special, a chance for us to share the incredible stories of local veterans who have served our country. It's a story unlike any other we've had on Hometown Hero, a mother-daughter pair who both served in the Army Reserves and actually served together. Sue and Kelly Sneathen have a bond that goes beyond mother and daughter. It all starts back in 1958 when Sue joined the Army at just 18. Some years later, she joined the Army Reserves in Green Bay, where she would serve with the 432nd Civil Affairs Battalion for the next 2 decades.
We had a bad reputation back then for women going in, but I proved them wrong. I didn't know what I was getting myself into, but I enjoyed it, I loved it, and I was very proud of it.
And then things came full circle when her daughter Kelly joined the reserves in '81, working in the exact same unit as her mother. Non-traditional is tradition for the Sneathens, and they wouldn't have it any other way.
It's a
Special.
bond that can't be broken.
Special.
Yeah, you can't break it.
Yeah.
You know, she's my best friend.
I think we'd do it again, wouldn't we?
Oh, in a heartbeat.
In a heartbeat.
And we thank you for your service, both Sue and Kelly. For our final hometown hero tonight, we introduce you to Angel Moore, who turned her life around after finding herself homeless. Now she spends her days giving back wherever she can.
So I take total pride in the fact of being a daughter, and female at that, in the military.
Angel Moore joined the Army Reserves at 17. She saw it as a path to getting her education, but the way her career started off would be a show of her determination for the rest of her life.
I wound up fracturing my ankle in the process, and graduating, I fought with the drill sergeants to let me stand with my formation on graduation day because I just got out of the cast, and I'm like, I made it this far. I deserve to be with my group, and I deserve to stand there and get my diploma.
Moore spent 8 years between the Army Reserves and the National Guard, but it wasn't until she got out that the real struggles began.
I struggled with homelessness literally from the time I was 18 all the way up until literally January 13th of 2020 when I signed the lease here, and it ended my homelessness.
Here is Veterans Village in Appleton, an affordable housing community for homeless and transitioning vets to get back on their feet. Moore was connected with the village while staying at a warming shelter in the Fox Valley, and it changed her life.
I had tears in my eyes because I'm like going, this is a reality. I'm going from being homeless into having my own home.
And when given an opportunity, Moore wastes no time. She got her own apartment, went back to school to study human services, and while she had barely just moved into a home of her own, she started giving back. What began as a free meal at Vets and Friends in Appleton has now become a way of life.
I love the interaction, and it's with the community. It's with other veterans, and you get to become part of them. And granted, when you're a veteran, you're already part of the veteran family. But this solidifies it.
Despite all that Moore has been through, she never gave up, and she hopes her story can be an inspiration to find the good in every day.
Don't be afraid to search. Don't be afraid, because being afraid is what hinders. Now I'm making an impact on other people, but it's also making an impact on me. It's making me feel like my life is worthwhile now, and I have a purpose. And now I consider volunteering as an obligation.
And we thank you for your service, Angel. And if you'd like to volunteer at Vets and Friends, we at WFRV actually did that for part of our Founders Day of Caring. You can just visit our website at wearegreenbay.com to find out more about volunteering. And I just want to add that getting to sit down with these veterans and hear their stories is so moving, and I'm so glad that we were able to share it with all of our viewers here tonight as a part of our Hometown Heroes special. And we hope, of course, that you enjoyed our Hometown Heroes special as we highlighted some of these brave individuals who served our country. If you know someone who you would like to nominate for our Hometown Heroes segment, just send an email to WFRV Hometown Heroes at wearegreenbay.com. We are always looking for veterans to feature. Again, I'm Caitlin Corbett, and thank you so much for joining us. Have a great night.
Local 5 was proud to bring you this special presentation of Hometown Heroes, presented by Window World. Thank you for watching.